Thanks so much for having me here tonight. I really appreciate all of you coming out, and thank you to CMRS for hosting this. My name is Kelsey Norman, as Maisa just said, and I'm a PhD candidate at the University of California, Irvine, which means I'm still undergoing my doctoral studies. My talk tonight is called Receivers by Default, Determinants of Host State Policy Toward Migrants and Refugees in Egypt, Morocco, and Turkey. And what I'm going to present to you tonight is very much a work in progress. So I'm in the middle of doing my field work for my PhD. So it's not that I'm going to be presenting conclusions or the end of a study. Okay, Egypt. I'm going to not spend too much time on Egypt just because I think there's a good chance that people in this room know more than I do, and also because we're all here. And so I'll allot more time to Morocco and Turkey. But just to give a sort of a very brief overview. So the primary source countries of migrants and refugees for Egypt, depending on the time period in question, would be Syria, Libya, Iraq, and then countries from the Horn of Africa, including Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Somalia. Some of the draw factors would be the resettlement program operated here by the UNHCR, as well as private and individual embassies from particular countries. And then also Egypt's location on a migratory route, both to Israel, although that's obviously become very dangerous, and then also to Europe, increasingly so as Libya has become less of an option. There are a number of individual laws and treaties that govern host state engagement, at least at a sort of de jure level, towards migrants and refugees. So Egypt is a signatory to the 1951 Convention, the 1969 Convention, and then there's a number of domestic laws that deal either directly or indirectly with migrants and refugees, including the 2010 law combating human trafficking. And there's others, I'm just not listing all of them here. But there is a noticeable absence of a cohesive refugee policy or a cohesive migration policy. There's also differential treatment by the host state, at least, again, at a sort of de jure level, by nationality and also by time period. So, as an example, some refugee or migrant groups are able to access school services, public schooling, and others are not. And then this can change according to what time period we're talking about. So, for example, Syrians, when they first started arriving en masse under former President Mohamed Morsi, were able to access schools. And then this treatment towards them changed quite dramatically, the de facto treatment, following the events of June 30th. Okay, I'm going to go on to Morocco now. So, like Egypt, Morocco has long been viewed as a country of transit, although it's increasingly becoming an option unto itself for migrants, primarily coming from West Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa more generally. Although in comparison, according to NGO estimates, there's between 25 and 45,000 Sub-Saharan migrants in Morocco. But in comparison to Egypt, there's very few UNHCR recognized refugees or asylum seekers. As of early last year anyway, there were less than 5,000 of those groups together, refugees and asylum seekers. So the draw for Morocco is, again, its proximity to Europe via a sea crossing. But as I mentioned before, this is becoming increasingly difficult and dangerous and costly. Morocco has a very, very negative track record of violence towards migrants. So since the end of 2011 in particular, the Moroccan government has carried out a visible increase in internal policing and border security, which is supported and encouraged by European governments, particularly the Spanish government. This has resulted in a dramatic rise in wide-scale, indiscriminate raids on migrant populations, particularly in neighborhoods where migrants are known to be residing, in Tangier, in Casablanca, and in Rabat, as well as in Oujda, which is the city on the border with Algeria. And what happens during these raids is that sub-Saharan migrants are arrested and then taken at night en masse to the borders and expelled across the border between Morocco and Algeria, and then left effectively in that sort of no man's land. And this is all very well documented by Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, which until 2013 was sort of the primary provider of health services for migrants, but because of all this violence, decided to cease its operations in Morocco as of last summer, 2013. Okay, and with that, I'll stop, and we can open the floor for questions.